Number 1. Snake mackerel, the knife that comes up from darkness. Sailors crossing tropical and subtropical seas have for centuries found long, ribbon-like fish lying on their decks at dawn. The animals were rarely caught on hooks. They were not pulled aboard by nets. Instead, they simply appeared overnight as if they had thrown themselves out of the water. The shape was unfamiliar. The teeth were unmistakable. Sailors had stumbled into one of the first quiet introductions humanity received from the Twilight Zone. The animal had a name. It still does. Gimpelis serpens, the snake mackerel, a member of the family Gempelidae. That family includes some of the sharpest-toothed oceanic predators in the open sea. It belongs to a layer of water most people will never see, roughly 200 to 600 meters down by day. Closer to the surface at night, the water at those depths is not black, it is dim. Light still leaks down from above in the upper part of that range, just enough to favor specific body colors. Dark backs vanish against the depths. Silver flashes confuse upward-looking eyes. Sudden attacks from below become viable. The snake mackerel is built to take advantage of all of this. Its body is extremely elongated and laterally compressed. It moves through water almost like a living blade. Behind its main dorsal and anal fins, a series of small finlets stretch toward the tail. Those finlets reduce turbulence. They stabilize fast forward motion. The arrangement is similar to the one found in fast pelagic hunters such as tuna and wahoo. The lower jaw of the snake mackerel protrudes past the upper jaw. The snout is long. The teeth are enlarged. Two of them, on the upper jaw, are sharpened into fangs. They function like hooks on slippery squid, lanternfish, flying fish, and small shrimps. Once a prey animal is locked, escape becomes very difficult. It is not an ambush predator. It does not lie still and wait. The snake mackerel is a pursuit and seize hunter, built for interception in the open sea. Most of what science knows about it comes from longline fisheries. The animals are pulled up as bycatch. They rarely appear alive at the surface. Sexual maturity is reached at modest sizes. Males mature near 43 centimeters standard length. Females mature near 50 centimeters. The common adult size is around 1 meter. Its danger to prey comes from its weapons, not from mass. Unlike many midwater predators that travel in schools, snake mackerel are largely solitary. They roam the upper Twilight Zone alone. For most of recorded history, the surface appearances of these animals were misread. They were called sea serpents. They were called accidents. The deep predator was being seen out of its real habitat. Longline bycatch eventually gave scientists physical specimens. It did not give them the animal's natural behavior. Today, the snake mackerel is studied as a node in a wider food web. Its nightly rise links the Twilight Zone with tuna, billfish, and ship's lights. It is both predator and prey. Hydrodynamics, darkness, and teeth produced a perfect knife-shaped hunter. The next predator does not need speed first, it needs a mouth larger than its own body. Number 2. Hammerjaw, the small fish with an impossible mouth. Below the classic upper Twilight Zone, the population of large predatory fish thins out. The animals that remain tend to look anatomically strange. They were introduced to science through rare net captures and the careful examination of single specimens. One of those animals is the hammerjaw, Omosutis loei, often treated as the only member of its family. It lives at depths from about 700 to 1,830 meters. It hunts at the deep edge of the Twilight Zone, near where the bathypelagic begins. It still belongs in this story because it follows the same vertical food web that begins higher up in the mesopelagic scattering layer. The food sinks and rises through its world. The body of the hammerjaw is small. Standard length is roughly 23 to 28 centimeters. Set against that small body is an enormous gape. The chin is deep. The lower jaw is huge. The mouth opens into a kind of trap cage of saber-like teeth. Teeth line both the jaws and the roof of the mouth. Once a prey animal enters, it cannot reverse out. The body itself is scaleless and laterally compressed. It carries a reflective sheen that breaks up its outline against the weak down-welling light from above. Its eyes sit high on the head. Most of its hunting attention is directed upward, watching for silhouettes. In a habitat where prey is rare, the hammerjaw uses what scientists describe as a one big meal strategy. A predator that finds little food cannot afford to be selective, so the body is built to swallow oversized prey when the opportunity comes. The stomach is highly expandable. A single capture might feed the animal for an extended period. The hammerjaw is usually caught singly. Multiple captures from one location are rare. That hints at fast, sparse, net-avoiding behavior. Its diet includes squid and pelagic fish. It is known to swallow prey larger than itself. Reproductively, it carries an unusual trait. Synchronous hermaphroditism has been reported in this species. Some individuals possess both ovarian and testicular tissues at the same time. In an environment where mates are hard to find, this kind of reproductive flexibility may matter. The eggs and larvae of the hammerjaw remain poorly described. Deep pelagic reproduction is difficult to observe. Most of what we know comes from preserved specimens, gut contents, and scattered distribution records, not live hunting footage. The hammerjaw matters as an example of feast or famine design. Anatomy here rewards the rare opportunity. It also serves as prey itself for larger mesopelagic predators such as lancetfish and tuna. Evolution turned a small body into a giant swallowing machine. The next predator does not need a giant mouth. It needs enormous low-light eyes. Number 3. Crocodile Shark. The night vision torpedo that dies at the surface. A small shark sometimes appears in tropical bycatch, looking far fiercer than its size suggests. The teeth protrude visibly. The eyes look almost too large for the head. On deck, the animal snaps and twists. People who see it for the first time often assume it must be a dangerous coastal hunter. The truth is the opposite. Pseudocarcharias kamoharai, the crocodile shark, is the only living member of its family. It is a creature of dim deep water, not coastal surface aggression. Typical adult size is around 1 meter. Records reach about 1.1 to 1.22 meters. Its vertical range runs from the surface to roughly 590 meters and somewhat deeper, moving with day-night prey layers. The body is spindle-shaped, the fins are small, and the whole design is built for active pelagic life in dim conditions. The most exaggerated feature is the eye. Proportionally, the crocodile shark has some of the largest eyes among sharks. It also lacks the nictitating membrane that protects the eyes of many other shark species. Large eyes gather light. In a habitat with very little of it, that becomes a hunting advantage. Its jaws are arched and protrusible, meaning they can extend forward during a strike. Its teeth are long and lance-shaped, suited for impaling rather than slicing. Its prey is consistent with the design: small pelagic fishes, squids, shrimps. The strategy is high-speed visual interception in dim water rather than slow ambush. Like many active pelagic sharks, it carries an oily liver that serves as a buoyancy organ. There is no swim bladder. The lipid-rich liver helps it hover and move in 3 dimensions without constant effort. Most of the species' known range comes from tuna longlines and gill nets that catch it as bycatch. Reproductively, it uses aplacental viviparity, sometimes also described as ovoviviparity. The embryos develop inside the mother, nourished by yolk and by additional maternal ova. Litters are small. Typical reports describe about 4 pups per litter. The pups are already substantial at birth, roughly 40 to 43 centimeters in length. The species' surface reputation has been distorted by capture biology. The animal snaps when stressed and dying. It has been described as dangerous, but it is not a coastal threat. Its real life is in pelagic darkness, not at the dock. The contradiction is sharp. It is deadly to prey, yet weak when removed from its native habitat and pulled to the surface. The combination of low fecundity and overlap with global longline fisheries makes small pelagic sharks like this one vulnerable to population decline. The crocodile shark is built for darkness, not daylight. The next predator does something stranger. Its stomach contents tell scientists more about the Twilight Zone than most cameras can. Number 4. Longnose Lancetfish. The cannibal archive of the water column. Commercial fishermen sometimes pull up a long silver fish with a tall dorsal sail and a mouthful of dagger-like teeth. The look is prehistoric. The body is so soft and watery that the animal often arrives damaged. Alopesaurus ferox, the long-nosed lancetfish, is among the largest predatory fishes in the broader Twilight Zone food web. Adults often approach 2 meters in length. Large records reach around 167 centimeters fork length. The lancetfish lives from near surface waters down to below 1,000 meters, with documented records reaching near 1,830 meters. It moves through almost the entire vertical column where the predator-prey traffic of the open ocean takes place. The body is long, slim, and watery in texture. The dorsal fin extends into a tall sail. The jaws hold large fang-like teeth. Those teeth are not used for chewing. They are used to impale and immobilize prey. The gape is enormous relative to the body width. Fish, squid, crustaceans, tunicates, salps, and various drifting animals all show up in lancetfish guts. Its strategy is a hybrid of ambush and pursuit. The lancetfish is not as muscular as a tuna. It cannot sustain very high speeds, but it is built for sudden bursts toward passing prey. Once prey is impaled, the animal swallows. The next feature is what makes the lancetfish unusually valuable to science. Its stomach digests slowly. Prey items remain remarkably intact for long periods. The stomach effectively functions as a biological sampling net. Researchers have used lancetfish stomachs to reconstruct mesopelagic diets and prey movement that would otherwise require expensive, depth-specific toes. Studies of stomach contents have repeatedly found remains of other lancetfish, evidence of cannibalism inside the species. Plastic ingestion has also been documented. This serves as a modern clue that human debris has reached deep midwater food webs. The species connects ocean layers. It moves between the surface, the twilight zone, and deeper water. Its predators include opa, sharks, albacore, yellowfin tuna, and fur seals. Direct underwater observation of lancetfish hunting is rare. Stomach evidence replaces camera evidence. Most of what scientists know about its hunting comes from animals already dead in nets or on decks. The lancetfish operates as predator, cannibal, and accidental recorder of the deep. The next predator on this list begins its violence even before birth. Number 5. Smalltooth sand tiger shark. The shark born from a violent nursery. Occasionally in deep coastal water or near offshore seamounts, divers and fishermen encounter a large shark with a snarled-looking mouth of needle-like teeth. The teeth stay visible even when the mouth is closed. The body looks bulky and slow. The animal is Odontospes ferox, the smalltooth sand tiger shark, also called the bumpy-tail ragged-tooth shark. It is not a purely open-water predator. Its known depth range runs from about 10 meters all the way to roughly 2,000 meters. That spread covers shelves, slopes, seamounts, and the upper edges of the twilight zone. It patrols the structure of the seabed and the boundaries between water masses. Its body is bulky, with a pointed snout and protruding teeth. The teeth are narrow and spike-like. They are designed to grip, not to slice. The diet is consistent with that tooth design. Small, bony fishes, squid, crustaceans, occasionally cartilaginous fishes. As in the crocodile shark, the smalltooth sand tiger uses an oily liver for buoyancy support in deep water. That reduces the constant swimming demand seen in some other pelagic sharks. The species has been documented in deep dives at sites like Malpelo Island in the eastern Pacific. Tagging records there have shown depths reaching close to 2,000 meters. Slope terrain, reefs, and seamounts work as concentrators for the species' prey. Animals rising from the mesopelagic scattering layer accumulate near these features. The shark hunts where the food gathers. Modern knowledge of the smalltooth sand tiger comes from tagging, bycatch records, and scattered diver sightings. Maximum sizes commonly listed reach about 450 centimeters total length and around 289 kilograms. Reproductively, the species is described as oviviparous or aplacental viviparous. Inside the womb, embryos appear to engage in oophagy, the consumption of additional unfertilized eggs produced by the mother. There is also discussion of possible uterine cannibalism, a feature documented more strongly in some related sand tiger species, where the strongest embryo consumes its siblings before birth. Litter output is very low. Reports often suggest around 2 pups, 1 per uterus. The pups are large at birth, sometimes around 1 meter in length. They emerge already as substantial predators. For decades, this shark was difficult to separate from similar sand tiger sharks in records. Its deep scattered habitat hid it from systematic study. Large body size combined with very slow reproduction and small litters makes any fishing mortality severe at the population level. Its biology is unsettling because survival begins with competition inside the womb. The next predator kills in a stranger way. It strikes before it bites. Number 6. Bigeye, Thresher Shark. The shark that strikes before it bites. In offshore fisheries across the tropics and subtropics, fishermen sometimes haul up a shark whose tail looks too long to belong to the body. The upper lobe of the caudal fin can approach half the total length of the animal. The shark is Alopius superciliosus, the big-eye thresher shark. It is found in surface waters but spends substantial parts of its day in twilight zone depths. Tracking studies have shown daytime mean depths around 353 meters, with records going much deeper, plus shallower movements at night. Its life cycle straddles bright surface water and dim midwater. The defining feature is the tail. The huge upper caudal lobe is not decoration, it is a stunning weapon. Researchers have documented the use of the tail as a striking tool during hunts. The strike sequence involves several stages. The shark approaches a school of prey. It flexes its body, it accelerates the tail in a sharp overhead or sideways arc. The impact stuns nearby fish. The shark then circles back to collect the prey. Energetically, this approach has clear advantages. A single tail slap can disable multiple prey animals in a tight school. Compare that to chasing each prey individually, and the energy savings become significant. Prey targets include schooling fishes and squid, especially animals moving vertically through the deep, scattering layers. The Bigeye thresher's name reflects its second key adaptation. Its eyes are large and oriented to look upward. They are well suited to detect silhouettes against faint downwelling light. The species also has an orbital rete mirabile, a network of blood vessels that exchanges heat. This system helps maintain the temperature of the eyes and brain during dives into cold, deep water. With thermal protection in place, the shark can move between cold, mesopelagic depths and warmer surface layers without losing sensory performance. Tagging and tail slap documentation have firmly established this hunting style. For decades, the elongated tail was treated as a curious anatomical feature. It is now understood as an active weapon. Large individuals commonly exceed 4.5 meters total length. The species is ovoviviparous. Embryos feed on yolk and on maternal ova. Litters are very small, often around 2 pups. Combined with overlap with longline fisheries, that low reproductive output produces conservation concern. The species is targeted and bycaught for meat, fins, skin, and liver oil. This predator extends its killing radius well beyond its mouth. The next hunter does not extend reach with a tail, it extends reach with numbers. Number 7. Humboldt Squid, the Red Devils, expanding through a changing ocean. Off the coasts of Peru, Chile, and Mexico, night fishermen have long described aggressive squid that swarm under the boat lights. The squid flash red and white. They tear into hooked fish. They sometimes strike at the fishermen themselves. The nickname stuck. Diablo Rojo, the Red Devil. The animal is Dositicus gigas, the Humboldt squid, also called the jumbo squid. It lives mostly between about 200 and 700 meters by day. At night it rises into shallower feeding layers. Its core range is the eastern Pacific, but documented expansion has carried it well north of its historical range over recent decades. Adult Humboldt squid can reach roughly 1.5 meters in mantle length and tens of kilograms in body mass. Lifespan is short, typically 1 to 2 years. That short life allows rapid population booms and crashes. Across its skin run chromatophores, pigment cells that can be expanded and contracted at speed. The squid uses them to flash red and white. The flashing appears to play roles in spacing, aggression display, feeding coordination, and signaling between individuals during group activity. The animal moves by jet propulsion through its mantle siphon, with fins along the rear for stability. The combination supports fast bursts and rapid group maneuvering. The feeding sequence is staged. Long tentacles strike out and seize prey. 8 arms wrap around the captured animal and secure it. The arms and tentacles carry tooth suckers that grip the prey's flesh. Finally, a sharp parrot-like beak tears the food into manageable pieces. Prey items include lanternfish, sardines, mackerels, shrimp, crustaceans, other squid, and various cephalopods. Cannibalism is common, both during feeding frenzies and when food becomes scarce. The Humboldt squid is unusually tolerant of low oxygen water. It is able to move through and rest within oxygen minimum zones in the eastern Pacific. That tolerance gives it refuge from some predators and competitors that cannot enter those layers. Tagging studies have confirmed dusk to dawn migrations into shallower feeding water and daytime descents back into deeper oxygen-poor layers. The squid's northward range expansion has been linked by scientists to climate-driven changes in ocean conditions and to reductions in some predators and competitors. Earlier fishermen's accounts often describe the species as a monster, partly because feeding frenzies under lights, hooks, and wounded prey are dramatic, the natural system is more complex. Group hunting, vertical migration, oxygen gradients, and boom-bust ecology all interact. Economically, the Humboldt squid is one of the most important fishery species in Peru, Chile, and Mexico. Catch can fluctuate by enormous margins from year to year. It is deadly because it combines numbers, speed, beaks, hooks, and adaptability. The next predator on this list does something none of the others can. It hunts the hunters. Number 8. Sperm whale, the apex hunter with a searchlight made of sound. Old whaling logs are filled with descriptions of giant scarred bulls surfacing after long dives. The scars looked like rings, ovals, and rakes left on the skin. They were not random. They were physical evidence of battles below, most never seen by human eyes. The animal is Physeter macrocephalus, the sperm whale. It is the largest toothed predator alive today. Adult males can exceed 15 meters in length with a head that dominates the body's profile. Females and immature animals are smaller. The whale hunts through the mesopelagic and into the bathypelagic. Routine foraging dives reach around 2,000 feet, often lasting about 45 minutes. Foraging dives can go beyond 1,000 meters. Deeper records exist. The sperm whale's main prey consists of medium and large squid, along with deep fishes. Its head houses the spermaceti organ and the nasal complex, a powerful sound production and directional system. Source levels for sperm whale clicks can exceed 230 decibels relative to 1 micropascal at 1 meter, among the loudest biological sounds ever measured. For a long time, popular sources described those clicks as a kind of sound weapon, able to stun prey at a distance. That claim is dramatic, but evidence for acoustic stunning of prey is not strong. The more strongly supported picture is different. The whale uses its clicks for echolocation. It listens to returning echoes to locate squid and other prey in total darkness. It then closes the distance and captures the prey with its jaws. Researchers have studied this hunting process in detail using D-tags, small recording devices that attach to the whale's body and record sound, depth, and orientation. The data show two main click types during foraging. Regular search clicks are used at long range to scan a large volume of water. Terminal buzzes are rapid sequences with reduced interclick intervals used at close range as the whale moves in on a target. The transition from regular clicks to buzzes marks the change from search to attack. The whale's physiology supports these long dives. Blood is oxygen-rich. Muscles are loaded with myoglobin to store oxygen. The dive reflex slows the heart and redistributes blood flow. The lungs collapse under pressure to prevent gas problems. The skin of older bulls is marked with circular and oval scars left by giant squid suckers and hooks. Those scars are physical evidence of close encounters with large cephalopods at depth. Tag-based behavioral ecology has revolutionized sperm whale research over recent decades. For centuries before that, the deep hunting battles were reconstructed only from scars, stomach contents, and whaling records. Modern conservation concerns include ship strikes, fishing gear entanglement, ocean noise, and the long aftermath of historical whaling. In darkness, sound becomes vision, range, and power. So far, this story has moved from animal to animal. Now the focus shifts to the place itself. The Twilight Zone, also called the mesopelagic, runs roughly from 200 to 1,000 meters below the surface. Photosynthesis fails here. There's not enough light to support primary production by algae, but sunlight still shapes everything. Faint downwelling light continues into the upper part of the zone. It is dim, but it is enough to silhouette an animal seen from below. That is why many predators in this layer attack upward. They look up and see outlines against the sky. A central feature of the mesopelagic is the deep scattering layer. The name comes from the way the layer scatters sonar signals from research vessels. It is not a physical structure. It is a moving band of small fish, squid, shrimp, and gelatinous animals that ride up and down through the water column. Each day, this living layer rises toward the surface at dusk and descends at dawn. This daily movement is called diel vertical migration. Estimates suggest billions of tons of animals participate in it worldwide. The predators in this script are wired into that movement. Snake mackerel rise at night. Crocodile sharks shift with the prey. Bigeye threshers descend during the day. Humboldt squid feed near the surface after dark. Prey density at any given depth changes hour by hour, not just season by season. Pressure rises with depth at a roughly steady rate, roughly 1 additional atmosphere for every 10 meters. At 1,000 meters, the pressure is close to 100 atmospheres. That alone makes direct human observation difficult and expensive. Oxygen minimum zones occupy parts of the mesopelagic, especially off the eastern Pacific. They form where biological demand strips oxygen from the water faster than circulation replaces it. For most animals, these layers are a barrier. For the Humboldt squid, they are a refuge. Silhouettes dominate vision in this water. Reflective bodies camouflage against dim surface light. Dark backs hide animals from predators looking down. Scarcity of food forces oversized mouth, expandable stomachs, and cannibalism. The hammerjaw and the lancetfish both fit that pressure. Temperature also matters. Cold deep water demands physiological tricks. The Bigeye thresher's eye and brain heat exchange is one example. The Twilight Zone is not a place of monsters. It is a place where physics designs predators. The next step is to examine the actual killing tools those predators carry. The weapons used by Twilight Zone predators fall into 4 broad systems: bite, swallow, strike, sensory lock-on. Each one solves the same core problem of catching prey in low light before it disappears. The snake mackerel's fangs represent the grip and hold model. Sharp, hooked teeth slide into soft tissue. The hooked fangs are particularly effective against squid and lanternfish, which would otherwise slip free. The hammerjaw demonstrates the engulf larger prey approach. The animal's body is small. The mouth is huge. Mouth size effectively replaces body size as the limiting factor on what can be eaten. In a habitat where meals are rare, this trade-off pays off across a lifetime. The crocodile shark shows the rapid impalement model. Lance-shaped teeth combine with protrusible jaws that can extend forward during the strike. That extension increases capture range by inches at a moment when inches matter. The lancetfish carries the same logic on a larger scale. Its teeth impale prey. Then, the prey is swallowed whole. Many deep predators do not chew at all. Chewing wastes time. It increases the chance that prey escapes or that the predator is itself attacked. Swallowing intact is the deep ocean's energy-efficient solution. The smalltooth sand tiger uses a permanent gripping array of narrow spiked teeth. They look terrifying. Most of that terror has nothing to do with people. The teeth are designed for prey control, not for slicing. The Bigeye thresher's tail strike represents the remote impact system. The tail extends the lethal range of the animal well beyond its jaws. In a tight school of prey, a single accurate slap can stun several animals at once. The Humboldt squid carries a multi-stage weapon chain. Tentacles strike out at speed and seize the prey. Arms close in and secure it. Toothed suckers grip the flesh. A beak shaped like a parrot's tears the food apart. Each step has a separate job. The sperm whale's clicks function as a sensory weapon system. The whale finds prey by sound, then closes the distance for a physical capture. Acoustic targeting is invisible from the surface, but very real to the prey. The energy economics differ across these predators. Pursuit hunters such as snake mackerel and crocodile shark pay a high cost in muscle and oxygen. Ambush-leaning hunters such as lancetfish save energy by waiting. Group feeders such as Humboldt squid distribute the cost of finding prey across many individuals. Each weapon design solves the same problem with different trade-offs. The accuracy of these weapons depends on the senses behind them. Predation in the Twilight Zone begins before contact. Detection comes first. Without it, the most impressive teeth, tails, and beaks are useless. Vision is the dominant sense for many of these predators, but it is a specialized vision. Large eyes act as light-gathering organs. The crocodile shark and the Bigeye thresher are clear examples. Both species have disproportionately large eyes for their body sizes. The Bigeye thresher's eyes are also oriented to look upward, watching for prey silhouettes against the faint downwelling light. The crocodile shark adds further low-light tuning, including the absence of the protective nictitating membrane found in many other sharks. Bigger eyes catch more photons. In dim water, that is the difference between seeing a meal and missing it. Body color matters as much as eye design. Reflective bodies like the hammerjaws break up the animal's outline against weak downwelling light. Dark blade-like backs like the snake mackerels vanish when viewed from above or from the side in dim conditions. Many mesopelagic animals add another layer of disguise through bioluminescence. Light-producing organs on their bellies create counter-illumination. The faint glow matches the dim light coming from above, so the animal's silhouette disappears. For predators, that glow is both target and trap. They must learn to detect the small difference between a counter-illuminated prey animal and the empty water around it. Tiny movements, brief glows, and outline differences become decisive. Humboldt squid use color as communication. Their chromatophore flashes pulse during group activity. Red and white waves of color move across the body. Researchers interpret these pulses as coordinating aggression, spacing, and feeding state. Even in dim water, color signals can travel between nearby animals. Sperm whales solve the dim water problem differently. They effectively replace vision with biosonar. Search clicks scan the water at long range. Terminal buzzes lock onto a target at close range. The whale sees the world as a map of echoes. The contrast with eye-based hunting is sharp. Eyes dominate detection on the scale of meters. Sound can dominate over hundreds of meters or more. Human cameras struggle to capture these systems in action because they are tuned to surface light. Animal senses succeed where cameras fail because they evolved for this exact environment. The deep ocean is not blind. It is tuned to signals that humans barely register. These senses, however, come with biological costs. Reproduction is the area where the price is most clearly paid. The deadliest hunters in the Twilight Zone often have fragile population strategies. Their adaptations for hunting come paired with reproductive trade-offs. The snake mackerel is oviparous. It releases pelagic eggs and larvae that drift in open water. Mortality among such larvae is high, dispersal is wide. Only a small fraction survives to maturity. The hammerjaw shows a much rarer feature. Synchronous hermaphroditism has been reported in this species, with both ovarian and testicular tissues found in the same animal. In a habitat where finding mates is difficult, that flexibility may help. The eggs and larvae of the hammerjaw remain poorly known. Almost everything about its early life is reconstructed from limited specimens. There are real gaps in basic biology here. The crocodile shark uses aplacental viviparity, sometimes called ovoviviparity. Embryos develop inside the mother. Yolk and maternal ova provide nourishment. Litters are about 4 pups. Each pup is already 40 to 43 centimeters at birth. Already predator-shaped, already capable of hunting. The lancetfish is oviparous. Its planktonic larvae enter the open ocean's surface community. The species is also reported to be a hermaphrodite. That trait is rare among large pelagic predators and has practical research value. It changes how scientists model population reproduction. The smalltooth sand tiger has very low output. Litters are often around 2 pups. Inside the womb, embryos engage in oophagy, eating additional unfertilized eggs. In related sand tiger species, the dominant embryo can also consume its siblings before birth. Pups are around 1 meter at birth. Already substantial predators, the Bigeye threshers litters are small as well, often around 2 pups. Combined with overfishing pressure from long lines, those small litters create severe conservation concern. The Humboldt squid sits on the opposite end of the strategy. Lifespans are short, often 1 to 2 years. Reproductive turnover is fast. Females spawn enormous numbers of eggs. Boom-bust population swings are the result. Strong years produce huge biomass. Bad years produce collapse. The contrast with the slow recovery of shark populations is dramatic. The sperm whale is a third strategy. Long life, slow reproduction, and prolonged calf dependence dominate its biology. Calves nurse for years. Females stay in groups that help care for them. That social investment supports survival, but limits how fast populations can recover from sharp declines. The Twilight Zone produces highly effective killers. It does not always produce resilient populations. Most of what we know about these patterns came from indirect evidence rather than direct observation. The next step is to look at the human evidence trail. The Twilight Zone is difficult to film. It is dark, deep, and pressurized. Most knowledge about its predators has come from indirect evidence built up over many decades. The snake mackerel is a clear case. Its surface appearances on decks are accidental. The animal launches itself out of the water at night and occasionally lands on ship surfaces. Those events have been recorded by fishermen and naturalists for centuries. Tuna long lines have also brought up snake mackerel and many other deep predators that would otherwise stay unseen. The hammerjaw shows up rarely in nets. Its sparse capture rate hints at low population density, fast swimming, or net-avoiding behavior. Researchers reconstruct its biology from a small number of preserved specimens. The crocodile shark appears in coastal strandings and in bycatch from tuna longlines and gill nets. Death at the surface distorts public perception of this small, deep shark. The fierce-looking jaws and aggressive snapping at capture create the impression of a dangerous coastal animal when its real life is in dim pelagic water. The lancetfish has effectively become a deep-sea sampling device. Its stomach digests prey slowly. Half-digested fish, squid, and gelatinous animals remain identifiable for long periods. Researchers have used those stomachs to map the diets of midwater communities. Plastic items have also been documented in lancetfish guts, providing modern contamination evidence. The smalltooth sand tiger remains poorly seen. Rare captures and scattered diver sightings carry most of the data. Tagging programs at deep sites have helped, including those near Malpelo Island, which has produced records of dives close to 2,000 meters. The Bigeye threshers' behavior has been mapped through tagging. Day depth patterns have been confirmed by satellite-linked tags and archival tags. Tail slap behavior, long suspected from anatomy, has been confirmed by direct observation and documented strikes on prey. The Humboldt squid has been tracked using satellite and acoustic tags. Those tags show daily vertical migration and seasonal range shifts. Fishery records add commercial-scale evidence of changing distributions. The sperm whale has become one of the best-studied deep-sea predators thanks to D-tags. Those small recorders capture clicks, buzzes, depth, and orientation. They allow scientists to reconstruct individual foraging dives almost stroke by stroke. The scars on sperm whale skin provide a second kind of evidence. Round and oval marks from giant squid suckers and hooks are physical proof of combat at depth, even when no camera has filmed it. Each evidence type carries bias. Bycatch shows the animal's fisheries already overlap with. Stomach contents represent only the most recent meals. Tags collect data from a limited number of individuals. The Twilight Zone is reconstructed from fragments, not from full visibility. That partial knowledge has produced several theories about why these predators have become so extreme. Several different explanations compete for why the Twilight Zone produces such extreme predator anatomy. They are not equal in evidence. They are also not mutually exclusive. The mainstream theory comes from sensory ecology and energetics. In this view, the extreme traits of these animals are direct adaptations to low light, scarce food, and vertical migration. Large eyes, exaggerated fangs, oversized mouths, weaponized tails, and biosonar are engineering solutions to specific problems. The hammerjaw's gape solves prey scarcity. The Bigeye thresher's eye and tail solve silhouette hunting and energy. Efficient stunning. The sperm whale's biosonar solves the limits of vision in total darkness. The snake mackerel's hooked fangs solve slippery squid. Each trait pays for itself in energy. A second perspective comes from the history of how humans encountered these animals. This view emphasizes that historical records are biased by fisheries, whaling, and accidental ship encounters. Predators seemed stranger than they were because people first met them when they were dead, displaced, or injured. Snake mackerel deck landings produced surface folklore long before the species was properly described. The crocodile shark snapping at capture created an aggressive coastal reputation that does not match its real life in deep water. Sperm whale mythology grew in large part from whaling-era observations of scars and giant squid remains. From that angle, much of the perceived strangeness reflects partial sampling rather than true biological extremes. A third theory focuses on climate and ecosystem change. Some of these predators are responding to shifts in prey layers, oxygen zones, and temperature boundaries. The Humboldt squid's range expansion northward in recent decades is a documented case study. Scientists have linked the shift to climate-driven changes in eastern Pacific conditions and to reductions in predators and competitors. Bigeye thresher and crocodile shark overlap with global fishing fleets may also rise as pelagic effort expands. Oxygen minimum zones may be growing in some regions, changing where squid and fish can hunt or hide. A fourth, more speculative perspective is worth handling carefully. The Twilight Zone may contain larger or rarer predatory behaviors that science has simply not yet documented. This is not a claim about sea monsters. It is a claim about sampling bias and observational limits. Lancetfish stomachs have repeatedly produced surprising prey items, suggesting rare feeding events go unrecorded between dissections. The reproductive biology of the hammerjaw shows that even basic life history remains unknown for some species. Sperm whale deep foraging happens almost entirely out of sight. Each of these gaps leaves room for unknown behaviors and interactions. The strongest overall explanation is probably not one of these theories alone. Physics, ecology, climate, and sampling bias all act together to shape what we see and what we cannot yet see. The Twilight Zone is a place where sunlight fades, but life does not stop. Every predator in this script solves the same basic problem in its own way. How to find food before food disappears. The snake mackerel solves it with speed, fangs, and night ascents into shallower water. The hammerjaw solves it with an oversized mouth and a stomach built for the rare meal. The crocodile shark solves it with huge eyes and pelagic speed in dim light. The longnose lancetfish solves it with opportunism, cannibalism, and a slow-digesting stomach that doubles as a record book. The smalltooth sand tiger solves it with size, teeth, slope access, and deep-range mobility. The Bigeye thresher solves it with a weaponized tail and upward-facing eyes supported by heat exchange. The Humboldt squid solves it with group behavior, color signaling, oxygen tolerance, and an explosive life history. The sperm whale solves it with breath control, biosonar, memory, and sheer mass. The word deadly does not always mean dangerous to humans. Within this ecosystem, deadly means efficient against prey under extreme constraints. A predator that cannot find food in the dark does not survive. A predator that wastes energy chasing each prey individually does not last long either. The Twilight Zone is best understood as a living machine driven by daily vertical migration. Billions of small animals rise and fall through the water column every 24 hours. They carry carbon, oxygen, and energy with them. They link the bright surface to deep water. The predators in this script follow that movement like a hunter's tracking a vertical river. They time their attacks to it. They shape their bodies around it. Human tools have given science only partial access to this system. Nets, hooks, tags, cameras, and acoustic recorders each produce fragments. Together, they sketch out the shape of the deep. Fisheries, ocean noise, warming surface waters, and changing oxygen zones may alter predator behavior faster than science can document the baseline. The Humboldt squid's recent expansion shows that change can be measured in years, not centuries. The Bigeye thresher and crocodile shark face direct pressure from long-line fleets. The smalltooth sand tiger's slow reproduction makes recovery from any decline difficult. Sperm whales still carry the population legacy of historical whaling. Nature uses the same basic laws everywhere. Pressure, light, oxygen, sound, energy. In the Twilight Zone, those laws build some of the strangest and most efficient predators on Earth. A sperm whale's clicks fade into the dark. Below, smaller hunters keep working. The Twilight Zone is not empty. It is still hunting.